My name is Ellen Harde, and I've been invited to bring you to Westford Common today. I was invited by the Westford Museum and Historical Society to tell you the history of a tree on Westford Common, specifically this tree, this sugar maple. Because Westford so treasures its history, and we kept such fine records, we know exactly when this tree was planted. The town clerk, John William P. Abbott, wrote in volume 6 of the town records that on this day, these trees in Westford Common were set out in 1839, and he recorded that event on March 2nd of 1840. The trees were set in 2 rows. This is parallel to Lincoln Street on Westford Common, and we have a picture from about 1900 of what these beautiful trees grew into over the next 60 years. Obviously, this tree is a shadow of its former self. It got old, and in a windstorm in the August of 2007, in the middle of the night, it toppled over. And the highway department was able to get it cleaned up so that the farmers market that afternoon could still continue. And then arborist and tree man Mark Donahue of Westford Tree turned it into this wonderful sculpture for children to climb on. But Westford has a great history of admiring trees and appreciating trees. Soon after the original trees were set out here on the Common in 1840, a group of men in Westford, and they were all men, established the Westford Ornamental Tree Association. 5 years later, at their 5th reunion for the founding of the Westford Ornamental Tree Association, Edwin Hodgman gave the address. Edwin Hodgman wrote the history of Westford. He would do that 20 years later in 1883. He was the retired pastor of the White Church in Westford Center, and he made it very clear that the purpose of the Westford Ornamental Tree Association was to plant a tree in every place that needed one, because trees so enhance the lives of people in Westford. This tree on my right, this sugar maple, lives in another place. When the tree was taken down in the summer of 2007, Mark Donahue kept a slice of it so that we could count the rings and see if we could count it all the way back to that day in 1839 when it was set out on Westford Common. And that project fell to a Westford Academy student by the name of Yvonne Lee, who did this as her senior internship at the museum. And not only did she count all the rings, but she created an extraordinary timeline. What did this tree see when it was on the Common for the years that it was here, from 1839 until it fell in 2007? But let me just tell you some of the things that happened that this tree saw as it was here. In 1861, as the Civil War was beginning, Westford put its first flagpole on the Common. And this tree saw that flagpole go up, and the townspeople gather here on the Common to sing songs and commemorate and honor the fact that Westford men were going off to fight in the war. In 1870, behind us, this tree saw the town hall being built. It was called the townhouse at that point. That was a change in the Common. In 1895, this tree saw the Fletcher Library being built. That was a library that the town was about to vote money for at town meeting, and a gentleman by the name of J. Farnham Fletcher, who grew up in Westford, had written a letter to the selectmen saying that he would like to pay the entire $10,000 in order to build that as a gift to his town where he'd grown up. This tree saw the library being built. Just 4 years later, in 1899, the tree saw the cannon arrive on Westford Common, a souvenir of the Spanish-American War. In 1900, it watched the original Westford Academy be moved from its original site at the corner of Hildreth Street and Boston Road, down Boston Road, to where it sits now and houses the Westford Museum. In 1929, this tree saw the large war memorial go up right behind the Common. In 1935, it looked over at the tavern and saw the governor of Massachusetts, Governor James Curley, come to Westford for the Apple Blossom Festival and have dinner at the tavern. He had just crowned the first Apple Blossom Queen in Westford that year. This tree saw band concerts on Westford Common. In 1938, it survived a hurricane when so many of its compatriots on Westford Common, the flagpole fell and had to be put back up. Hundreds of trees on the common went down. This tree survived that. And in 1974, the flagpole itself toppled, and it was replaced by this beautiful flagpole in 1976 for the town's bicentennial. This tree has seen a lot. We invite you to come to the Westford Museum and see Yvonne Lee's entire timeline. We invite you to come to Westford Common and enjoy the beauty carried on today, not by the Westford Ornamental Tree Association, but by the volunteers of the Common Restoration Project. Thank you.